Hey there guys, it's Elle here from BPS Fitness. Today we're going to talk about things to consider before you compete. I figured that it would be a good time because some of you that have been watching the videos are already competitors, but some of you that may be watching may be thinking in the future that you want to compete. And there are a lot of things that you should think about and make sure are right in your life when it becomes the time to compete and whether you know that it's the time for you. So I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk about it. I have probably about 10 things that I've kind of come up with that are extremely important that you know and that you prepare yourself for before you decide to step on the stage. Competing has become a huge thing lately, and I love that so many more people are getting interested in fitness and improving their life and taking control of their health and happiness. But another big thing that's come to my attention is that a lot of people may be stepping on stage for the wrong reasons. Now, this entire video is not to turn anyone away from the stage, but it is, I think, something, it's almost like what I wish someone told me before I decided to compete. Now, I know that a lot of you are going to say, okay, Ellen, so why do you compete? And I'm going to come at you and tell you a couple of my reasons. I grew up never an athlete. I didn't play sports. I danced, not competitively, just more recreationally, for myself, for fun. And I never got that competitive aspect. And I remember in high school, I always loved, we had different gym options, and team sports was always top on my list. And because I like to be competitive, but I didn't think I was any good at sports, so I never actually went after it. And I think that's one thing that I would go back and I would do all over again, is join a sports team so I could be competitive. So I do it not only because it's a personal goal, I can be competitive with myself, but when I actually step on stage, I'm competitive with other people. I'm a very friendly person, but when it comes to, the stage, I bring my best and I expect that everybody else does too, and that's my main reason for competing, and I'll share a little bit more about why I do it later on in the video. I want to start off by kind of covering probably the biggest thing in my opinion as to why people begin competing and why it is kind of a slippery slope when you decide to compete for this reason. And that reason being competing to achieve a certain physical appearance. Because you're unhappy with the way that you look now, you think that jumping into a 12-week prep, doing, the insane workouts, even though, not to say they're insane, but it's prep is a whole different ball game than just general fitness and working out and eating healthy. So I think that a lot of people think that by doing a prep and becoming a competitor, they'll achieve this body and they'll feel good about themselves and they'll be really happy in their own skin and they'll have finally made it. And something that I can tell you that I'm sure that many other competitors can vouch for is that by achieving that body, if you don't work on yourself, kind of self-love, self-appreciation, loving your body at every stage, even when you get to that, even when your body peaks, which is what it's supposed to do on show day, if you haven't worked on all that internal stuff, you will be just as unhappy with yourself as you were when you were maybe 15, 20 pounds heavier or a different body fat percentage. So any insecurities that you may have with your body, with yourself, competing won't fix that. You have to learn to love yourself at 25% body fat as much as you would at 13, 14% body fat with abs. If you're unable to do that, your rebound after the show is going to be much more difficult than it were to be if you turned this into a lifestyle and work towards those physique goals as just separate. They're just physique goals. They're not, to fix something to fill a void, or they're not to make you feel better about yourself just because you look a certain way. So along with that first topic, competing will not fix an eating disorder. And I've seen and read and heard amazing stories about people who have recovered from or overcome eating disorders. I don't believe that anyone ever really recovers. I just think that you get better at managing your feelings and your thoughts and your actions. But replacing an old eating disorder or eating disorder tendencies with kind of obsessive macro tracking or weighing everything to the T and always having this, there's a difference between having something planned out and organized and obsessing over it. So I highly suggest that if you are coming recently from an eating disorder, and I hate to even say an eating disorder because there's so many different levels of it, but if you are coming from food obsession or coming out of some sort of struggle with food, competing, I feel like will take you steps back if you were to jump right in. When you decide to become a competitor or to do your first show or to continue competing, you have to understand that there are a lot of things that you're going to be doing that may not be something that you thought you would actually have to give up for. You may have to get up at 4:30 in the morning to make sure that you get your cardio done because your schedule is crazy. And that's absolutely not to say that it can't be done. I know people who are full-time parents, have a full-time job, are working on their masters on the side and still juggling all sorts of things. And these people can be extremely successful in competing, but it has to be something that you know yourself that you are ready to commit to and that you may have to make sacrifices. Like you may have to miss an event that you promised someone for because you have to make sure that you get this and that done. I think this is for anybody who has even started with fitness and maybe surrounded by people that don't really have any idea about this whole fitness world. Prepare for people to be a little confused. Prepare for them to not quite get it and not understand and maybe make negative comments. And I find that a lot of times people will make these negative comments because unfortunately in this world, I think a lot of people have a hard time watching other people be successful. I found in the fitness community, there's a lot more of building people up, but once someone enters the fitness world and there's people on the outside that don't have any idea about it, or they just don't get it and they want you to be able to go out after work for a happy hour, they'll look at it as a negative thing, and even if it's something that you're trying to do to improve your life. This goes along with making sacrifices. Are you ready to turn down social events? And are you ready to, unfortunately, potentially lose friends from starting this new lifestyle? Because your lifestyle will indeed change. So again, this is your job to make it known that you can go out and do things and that you're not always turning down opportunities that your friends invite you out for because they will stop inviting you. And that's a really, really hard thing for a lot of people to kind of, it's difficult. No one wants to lose friends and no one wants to stop being invited out to dinner, to events, but the truth is that it does happen. So it's your job to make sure that you are going out of your way sometimes to kind of maybe organize an event that you can go to and that your friends know that you are still like a human being and you can go to the movies. Not everything needs to be surrounded by food and doesn't need to, because that's how we live. We socialize around food. When's the last event that you went to that didn't have any food offered or wasn't at a restaurant or at a place where you could get concessions? So it's very real, and it's something that you have to consider and make sure that you're keeping those relationships solid even though you are prepping. One thing that can get extremely frustrating when you're with family members or friends or at social events, people have food and you'll say, no thank you, I'm all set, I have my food. Or if they know that you're competing or you're getting ready to make a big lifestyle change and you pass on certain foods and drinks, a lot of times people will be like, but wait, just try this. Like, it won't hurt you. You can have it. And you can't. I mean, I'm sure that if you have worked into your plan, if you've made the accommodations for it and you can do it, then absolutely you can say yes. There's plenty of times that I've been able to be out and be like, actually, yeah, I can't have it. Now that takes me to a whole nother part of it, is that this is a choice. So when you decide to compete and you're complaining that you're hungry around the people that care about you, friends, family, coworkers, anything like that, it is your choice. It is something that you're deciding to do, and so a lot of times people that don't quite get it, if you complain to them about you're hungry or you're sore or you're tired, they'll kind of look at you like, well, you're doing this to yourself. And so that's a big thing, is that you kind of have to have thick skin and push through it on your own and rely on the other people that or look to the people that you can rely on and that understand, like the fitness community, like Instagram, like everybody on Twitter who's posting about squats and hungry for donuts, but they're staying strong with their diet. It's to look to the positive people around you to help you to get kind of the encouragement and support that you need when maybe everybody else isn't being supportive. Are you ready to be hungry? The majority of people that go into prep are in a deficit, whether it's from food or it's from training. Now, I say the majority of people because some people can go into a show and they can be eating more. It depends on kind of where you start. But you will be hungry. You are in a deficit. You will have cravings. You will be surrounded by food at times and want to just like rip your hair out because everybody around you's eating pizza and enjoying, and you'll be like, why can't I have that? Or you'll look at someone else who has a different physique and you'll be like, but they're eating that, why can't I have that? That's completely individual. So again, if you're doing this for the right reasons, the hunger and that frustration won't come through and you'll be able to kind of make it through the prep. But that goes back to the first few things that I said about, what are you doing this for? Is this healthy for you because you want to compete, not necessarily because you want your body to look a certain way? Another thing to consider when you go to compete, is it in your budget? Yes, competing is super expensive, and between registration fees, paying for a class, if you're a novice competitor, you're going to be entering up to 3-4 classes depending on how big the shows are. You're going to need to buy a suit. Maybe you can rent one or borrow one from a friend, buy a used one. That'll save you money. You need to buy heels, but if you go on Alexa's, the Shoe Fairies Instagram, she's got a $10 off coupon for your next pair of shoes, so go repost that if you want $10 off your next pair of shoes to save you some money. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to help save you money by explaining about the tanning and travel and everything like that. There's so many different expenses that come into competing, and it has to be something that's reasonable for you. So along with the budget, is it going to work with your life? Are you going to be able to handle everything that life throws at you, whether it's school, work, family, social life, friends, personal anything, your training, making sure that you can get it all done? Can you make it happen? Because if you can't, the stage will always be there. And that's what I've been told, and that's what I try to tell myself when I have a hard time taking time off. Which I tend to do, and I'm sticking with it right now. I'm taking this time off that I need. But is it right for you right now? And it's okay if it's not. Another thing that is extremely important is, have you done your research and decided on the proper coach that has the right type of training and dieting approach that you think will fit into your lifestyle? Now, I'm extremely lucky because my mother is my coach, so it wasn't really a difficult decision for me because I know and trust her. But for a lot of other people, it takes a lot to kind of pick a coach and find out everything. A coach most likely will not give you what your plan will be like, but you're allowed to ask questions. Interview your coach as if, you're hiring them to do a job, and their job is to put you through a prep. And if you are serious about competing in the long term, you will want to pick a coach and an approach that you are going to have some longevity in the sport. So doing your research is extremely crucial. And if you pick a coach that has a flexible dieting approach and the weight training and the cardio isn't out of control, then you'll be able to kind of avoid a lot of those things like missing out on social events, because you can make it happen. It's not so rigid. You don't have to be in the gym doing cardio in the morning and again at night, along with weight training, along with a very low calorie intake. So you have to do your research, and you have to choose a coach that's going to be right for you. Now let's get back to why are you stepping on stage? And there's a lot of times people will say, well, I just want to get on stage because I want the experience. And that is a completely fine thing to step on stage for. Maybe you have lost 100 pounds and you want to get on stage, or you have never been an athlete in your life and you've wanted to do something competitive, like in my situation. And it has to be something that is true for yourself, and it's not something that you're just telling the outside world that's why you're doing it. Because that can kind of leave you in like a sticky situation where you may be telling everyone you don't care how you place, you just are there for the experience, and then show day comes and you're in a class with 25 people and you don't place as well as you have hoped. And will you begin to beat yourself up and kind of regret doing the entire prep because the result wasn't what you expected? Are you able to handle the outcome no matter what the outcome is? Are you comfortable being critiqued? Because that is exactly what you get on stage to do. You get on stage to be compared to other people. And it's funny because in the fitness world, we are always talking about how, no one else is our competition. Your own competition is you in the mirror, ready to take home whatever happens that one day, because the training leading up to it is really everything that matters the most. I think that's about it, guys. I hope this video wasn't super depressing or scary or anything like that. I think that it's something that I wanted to talk about, and I feel like it's extremely important before you step on stage to kind of know the steps to take to make sure that it's the right decision for you, it's the right time in your life, and that it's going to be healthy in the long run. Liked it and subscribe to my channel. This is video number 5, I believe, of my prep series, so check those out. They're all in the playlist, and let me know if you liked it and if you agree with any of the things I said about a prep, or even share with me some of the reasons why you decided to do your first bikini competition, or if you're thinking about it, what are your reasons? So thanks for watching, and I love you guys.